working lad from the north, millionaire overnight.
People that say it's overnight are out of their mind.
Featherweight world champion, Brendan Loughnane.
I've watched the sport go from, you fighting cages. Now they put you alongside footballers. All my mates from the gym that I trained at were all bouncers. 17 I was on the doors. The other doorman was trying to suss me out. Why don't you have him a fight then? Right, go down the alleyway over there, there's no cameras. It was about that big. If someone walked in, I said, let's have a fight, we'll just do it. Maybe it's my ego. I can't turn down challenges. I'm very competitive. Bellator, 1FC, all the major promotions was offering me stupid money. Everyone wanted me at that point. The PFL, they were just starting out. You fight in a tournament for $1 million. Your whole family is just ringside at Madison Square Garden. It doesn't get any higher or any bigger for anyone. And I had 4 fights in 7 months every year for 4 years. And my girlfriend at the time begged me not to go back. You've got a world title, you've got the money. Didn't listen to no one. Moved to Thailand. I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment on my own. I'm barely eating. I'm barely sleeping. I don't see any of my friends and family. So I didn't slow down. I didn't take a minute to myself. I just kept going and going. And I believe that's why I did lose.
In moments where you weren't winning, did it ever hit lows?
Oh mate, highest highs and the lowest lows. Ended up on a reality TV show. Dana White comes on the screen. You're not in the UFC, bye.
What?
Nobody can understand what's going on. Millions of people are watching the show live. That moment there was the most indescribable feeling. 1 minute you're on top of the world and then you lose a fight and all of a sudden...
It's gonna bring me down.
Our champion today is the world-renowned MMA fighter, Brendan. His road to glory was faced with consistent rejection that would make most hang up their gloves for good. But no matter the failure or challenge that lay ahead of him, his larger-than-life determination meant he would never quit. No matter the loss, no matter the fear, no matter the cost, Brendan was going to win. And I'm excited to welcome him to the show.
Well, mate, welcome down to Part of the Ordinary.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Now, when I do a little bit of Googling you, starting off, for anyone that might not know you, whatever, when you Google your name, pretty much comes up, working lad, from the north, millionaire overnight. Do you know what I mean? That's a title that comes up, but it's way more than that, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it is. It was and is an insane journey that has been ongoing since I was 15 years old, 33 now.
Yeah.
So people that say it's overnight are out of their mind.
I know, because it comes growth. That type of growth comes in lots of little steps. But I think what would be really good is kind of paint that picture for people.
Yeah.
When you was younger, what was life like for you?
Well, you know what I always say to people, I was just a typical Manchester lad, I really was.
Yeah.
I was playing football, I was fucking about, I was wrestling kids in the playground as we all were.
Yeah.
I thought I was a WWE superstar at one point. So I was that was kind of me, and I just think I had a very, very normal upbringing. Like, I'm trying to find something where you'd be like, that's why he's a fighter.
Yeah.
But actually isn't any of that. It's just a guy who loved competition, loved sport, was always athletic and always the most competitive little kid around. Like, I just wanted to win absolutely everything. Losing was just never an option for me. And then that escalated into just finding martial arts. And I do generally think you are a fighter inside. I think that's a true saying. I don't think it's something that you can just start to learn. I think you can, but it'll take you to a certain level. And then when you get into places like deep waters, I like to call them, where fights get really hard, that's where you find out the real fighter inside you.
You find out who you are.
Yeah.
But you said something then which is I was just a normal kid, but normal to people is so different.
True.
You know what I mean?
It's very generic, that, isn't it?
It's a very generic thing, because you could be born in a working class family and that's normal. You could be born in a high class family and then that's very normal. But what was your normal?
So my normal was, I grew up in Withington, and I grew up with both mum and dad, very, very hard workers, still to this day. And I think that working mentality was instilled in me from a young age. And I was lucky enough to find my passion. I'm probably in the 1% of the 1% of people that can actually wake up every day and be absolutely buzzing to go to work.
Yeah.
There's not many people that can do that. So I think from young, I seen them was getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I would see them at 6 at night, and I used to think, wow, and then they work really hard. So when I actually found what my calling was, I just instilled that into me, and I took that kind of ethos and mentality with me into my chosen path.
Yeah. So essentially you've seen your parents being hard workers was just inbred inside of you. You was that's kind of what you should do.
I think it's like a thing with Manchester though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we come from that town where
The
it's
worker
like,
bee.
yeah, we've got a different type of mentality and outlook where even like when you go back to the old Van Gogh paintings and you see them in all the old like industrial buildings and everyone was just working and going for it in that way. And I just think like that's passed through the generations from people like my mum and dad, their mum and dad to myself. And I feel like I was just lucky enough to find my passion and put it into that rather than making someone else rich.
Yeah, and tell me at that moment. So you found your passion. When was it you found that? When was the eureka moment?
I was playing football up until I was very good at football, just not good enough.
Yeah.
I grew up in the same area as Rashford and Lingard. I knew them, and you know, loads of good footballers growing up.
Yeah.
And that was my scene. I just loved playing football. And then I got to like, I'd say like 13, 14, and I kind of realised I was school captain and all that. I played for some good teams, but then I kind of realised like I'm getting a bit older now, and like I'm not good enough to push through.
Because you need to be in those academies by then. And
It's
you
so
need to be getting in those
competitive, isn't it?
moments.
Like,
Yeah.
football's a different level of in Manchester. You have to be exceptional.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. So I realised that, which is good because a lot of people do, and they chase it till 25 and then think, oh no.
What do we do now?
Yeah. So that happened, and it just so happened that my next door neighbour at the time was an MMA fighter at a decent level as well. And it was when MMA was totally unknown. I mean, I've watched a sport, imagine this, in my lifetime, go from frowned upon, like, ew, you fighting cages,
So like,
to
quite scary.
to now they put you alongside footballers and boxers and, oh yeah, well, he's that MMA guy. So I've watched it like completely grow as a sport to what it is now, competing with boxing and competing with football, and like everyone like, oh, UFC's on this weekend, and everyone's going to the pub to watch it. Back in the day, nobody cared.
I remember my uncle, he loved MMA.
Yeah.
And he had lads around, had like 8 brothers, and they was MMA fighters, like getting into the scene. But we was like kind of like, oh, that's a bit dodge that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
And
like
it still
this
is.
street fighting kind of thing. Like that's what it felt like. But now I'm like, oh fuck yeah, it's big sport.
People actually know the names now of fighters like they do wrestlers. Back in the day, remember wrestling back in the day? We all wanted to be The Rock, didn't we?
Who didn't want to be The
We
Rock?
all wanted to be Stone Cold, but like
Yeah.
now it's like, now people want to be John Jones. People want to be, it's like, it's a bit mind-blowing really to watch it in my own lifetime and my own career. Watch it go from something where I was getting paid £100 to do up until now getting $1 million fights. It's like, and that's just in my lifetime, so who knows where it's going from here.
Yeah. Let's go back to that actually, that £100. Was it like, you got paid 100 or 150 quid for your first fight?
Yeah. So I remember I was fighting in Nottingham. I think it was about, my first or my second, I can't remember, but I was fighting for a local gym. My side ground and pound, I was in there. And then I remember they used to train Tuesday and Thursday for 2.5 hours. It used to be £4. And we used to go, and it used to be in the local church. How mad's that? It was in the church. We used to put mats down in the church and fight each other.
That's not the place you think you'd be fighting.
What are the
is it?
chances of that? Do you know what I mean? So we used to lay these jigsaw mats that we got off the internet.
Yeah.
And just fight each other. We had no idea what we were doing. We used to have like, because the MMA gloves wasn't around, we used to have bag gloves and fight each other in bag gloves. How nuts is that? Because as you know, there's not much in them.
Nope.
We didn't really know about grappling and all that. We were just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
And then got right, you're fighting. I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm going to ask 150 quid for you because we've got to drive to Nottingham. We've got to stay over and all that. And I was like, what? I'm going to get paid? He's like, yeah, you're going to get paid for it. I was like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
And then that was 2008, my first fight was, and I guess you could say the rest is history from there.
Yeah. But what was you doing at the same time as that then? So you was obviously doing the fight and you was chasing a career. You was chasing essentially what was a passion.
Yeah.
But was you working on a job alongside that?
Yeah, so I was at Stockport College doing mechanical engineering. I was doing that, which I actually completed. And I've got a HND in that, which is mad. But I actually did a bit of like work experience with them in Kellogg's. And then I just realised that this ain't for me.
Yeah.
I just seen like 50, 60-year-old men who hated the life, turning up to work. And like, I just thought, I'm going to be here for at least another 50, 60 years of this. And I don't want to be this. I want to be this depressed and be this type. I don't want this type of life.
Yeah.
And then back then there was a stat that 1% of everyone in the world that does MMA will actually get in the UFC. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to go for it. What have I got to lose?
I've got a 1% chance.
Yeah, I'll take that 1%.
It's better than 0.
And then I left. I finished my HND. So I was in a middle ground between what am I going to do with my life, finishing studying, and just attacking MMA.
Yeah.
Like this is actually what I want to do. But did I know I wanted to do it? I don't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I loved training and I loved fighting.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't want to be a mechanical engineer that I just wasted 4 years doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was in the middle ground of what to do. 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and I'm knocking people out. I'm thinking, fucking hell, I'm actually all right at this. Yeah. And then it just like escalated then, and then it was like, well, I'm getting 150 quid, so I can't live on that.
Yeah.
So what else am I going to do? So then I got on the doors.
Yeah.
Did the doors for 3 years.
Yeah.
From 16, 17, I was on the doors.
Like just bouncing.
Yeah, just how am I? I was about that big. But all my mates from the gym that I trained at were all bouncers.
Yeah.
So they was like, yeah, come with us, do it with us. And then people used to literally walk up to me and be like, what are you doing on here?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to stop me coming in here? And then I was fighting all the time then. Yeah. On the doors as well.
Really?
Then, all the time.
But training there as well.
Basically training the day and night.
Yeah.
I was getting life skills at the night. And in the day I was like doing it as a profession. So yeah, it was a bit chaotic.
Yeah. Like you say, you're on the doors and people's already doubting you.
Of course. Well, why wouldn't you? I would as well.
Yeah. But in your mind, like, does that ever set in, like that doubt of other people's opinions of you? You're thinking like, is it a chip on your shoulder? No, I'm going to prove you wrong. Or is it no, that's actually sinking in a little bit?
No, not at all. It was a stereotype that I would have stereotyped me too. I really would have. I would have looked at me. Like one time, I remember I was working on Silk Strip Club, and it had just opened. And then I remember this guy's come up to me and he's gone, what are you? He's like, what are you doing on here? And I was like, just working. And then he was like, he looked at this guy who was with me. He's like, did your dad get you a job? I was literally like that. And then, this is a mad story. So then the guy started giving loads of shit to the other guy who was working with. And I'd only been on the door maybe like, not long at this point. So I think this other guy was trying to suss me out, the other doorman, because he didn't know me. So, but he'd heard about me, but he didn't know me. So he went, well, why don't you have him a fight then? And then I was like, yeah. So then he's like, right, go down the alleyway over there. There's no cameras. And I had to literally fight this guy. And I ended up absolutely destroying him in front of like all the manager of the club came out, all the girls that were working there, and watched me have this fight with this like random guy who was twice the size of me. Looked like he was full of steroids. Right. And I just ended up fighting him, and it was absolutely battering him. And then, it was, That
sounds like the literal definition of Fight Club.
It was. It was an alleyway outside Silks. You can see it now to this day. It's down the road. Yeah. And obviously this Doorman had it sussed out that there's no cameras there. Yeah. I didn't know. Yeah. And then I had to literally walk. I remember walking down to this fight, taking my jacket off and thinking, what have I got myself stuck into here?
Yeah. Because that's not normal, is it? That's like proper like kind of...
This was like 2008, 7, 9. No, 2009 this was, because I'd already had 1 or 2 fights by then. We ended up shaking hands in the end, which was a bit of a mad one.
That sounds like it was just like I kind of want to fight. Do you want to have a fight?
Yeah, it was it was a test. Right. That was like my test. Like, well, everyone's saying you're hard. Are you hard? Go and fight him. And I was like, all right.
That's a bizarre story.
But I've always been like that though. Yeah. Like, if someone walked in, I'll say, let's have a fight. We'll just do it. I've got a weird thing. Maybe it's my ego. Yeah. Maybe it's just me as a person. It's like, I can't turn down challenges. I'm very competitive. Yeah. And like, I don't like people, like you said before, looking down on me like, well, no, you can't do that. Or like, I just don't know. I've got a weird thing with people that challenge me into fights and into weird situations when you feel like you're backed into a corner. Because I was really, if you think about it, if I'd have said no that night, no, I'm not fighting him, everyone this guy would have lost respect to me. The word would have gone round. I don't know if I would have been respected. I might have lost my job. Who knows? So in the end,
the only thing that was scary is if something bad had happened. Obviously, it's not like it's a safe environment. That guy would have got hurt.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's not what I wanted in one slightest bit. And I couldn't be any further away from that guy. I don't like fighting on the street. My mates will tell you, I just walk away from any bad situations. Like, because at the end of the day, I'm classed as a weapon. I've spent my whole life doing martial arts. Yeah. Why do I want to fight average Joe who's had 10 pints? I don't. Like, I'm not interested. If you want to watch me fight, go on YouTube and watch me fight other trained athletes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Watch
mean?
a proper fight.
Real fighters.
Hey, I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you for listening and give one of you loyal listeners a chance to win a year-long supply of Furosity to show appreciation for all your support. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe to our podcast on your favourite streaming platform and share your favourite episode on social media. But don't forget to tag us so we can see it. We really do appreciate you, and thank you for listening.
But then in terms of, you said as well about competitiveness, like you've said, you've always been super competitive. Football, sport, you was around some of like world's greatest names in football. Has that ever got to you a point where like, if you're winning, you're on top of the world? Like you said, you were 150 quid. I'm getting paid to fight. And then you knock someone out. You're like, oh, I'm all right at this. Second fight. There's an audience watching. Blood's like, fuck. You're getting like in heightened feelings. In moments where maybe you weren't winning or something would happen, like you said, you've just got to race to that challenge. Did it ever hit with
Oh, mate, my career's been this.
Yeah.
Like, wow, highest highs and the lowest lows. That's what they say about fighting. You one minute you're on top of the world and everyone's bringing your phone and wants to be your mate. And then you lose a fight and all of a sudden your phone's silent. You know what I mean? And I seen that Mike Tyson quote from back in the day. I don't know if you've seen it.
Go on.
He said he had 50 missed calls when he won, but when he lost, his phone was on silent and nobody come in the dressing room. And when you win, the dressing room's full.
Yeah.
But I knew that from a young age. I didn't get mad about that. People love winners in any aspect of life.
Yeah.
It doesn't just apply to sport. I know what I'm up against.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit and moan about it. If I lose, I know that people are going to have a certain reaction. If I win, I know people are going to have a certain reaction. Yeah, I think the first low point of my whole career was I got a world title fight on Bama. It was in Dublin, Ireland, and I was about, I want to say 9-1 or something at that time. I'd built myself up to fight this guy who's called the Fire Kid, Tom Duquesnoy. He's undefeated. He was the biggest phenom in Europe at the time. And everybody was like, I remember I got in a lift with my coach. I'll never forget this. I was in Ireland at the fight and I pressed the lift and this guy's in the lift with me and my coach. And then it's going up. He's like, yeah, like, so how come you've took this fight, mate? Like, what? You got no chance. And I was like, what?
Your coach?
Yeah, no, this random reporter who was just in the lift with us.
Yeah.
I mean, my coach have looked at each other like, he's fucking joking.
He's just come straight in. He's like,
yeah,
bang.
no, like just general. Press the button, turns around. Oh, Brendan, yeah. How come you've took this, mate? All the reporters were writing me off. Everyone was writing me off in this fight.
Yeah.
I went in there and absolutely wiped the floor with this kid, battered him every round.
Yeah.
And then they give him the decision, and there was a full scale riot. Glass bottles was getting thrown in. And that's why I'll always respect David A in this situation, because he was the reporter on the night, the commentator, and he turned around and went, this is a travesty, what's just happened here, like, I'm a fighter myself. And he said that live on TV. He wasn't supposed to say that. He was supposed to like play the role. So that was my first low.
And how did that feel when you got home?
Horrific. Absolutely. Like, still to this day, it was an indescribable feeling because I sacrificed so much. I had to move to America. I was in America for 4 months. I was training every single day, all day. I was starving to death for the fight because I had to make the weight. And I wasn't very up on nutrition, so I just didn't eat. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. Again, sport was in its infancy. There wasn't no education out there like there is now.
Yep.
And I put everything into it. I got told, you're going straight to the UFC when you win this. And my old dream was about to come true. And then imagine going there and doing it. And then just because someone behind the scenes wanted this superstar to keep winning, I was like, oh my God. But what it did do is it was on Channel 5 live. Yeah. So the whole world seen how good I was. And they couldn't ignore what happened. Even him, like, they lifted his arm up in the air and he pulled it down. The guy was like, even he was like, yeah, like, done you, mate. Do you know what I mean? So that was my first low point.
It's a pretty big low point.
No, it was massive.
Yeah.
It was absolutely huge. Felt like my world had ended.
And can you describe it? When you say, I think low points is when you get back in the bedroom and it's just you and your own voice and your own thoughts. What was racing through that mind?
Well, after that fight, I was pissing blood. I had a broken nose. I had loads of shit going on and I was injured as well. And yeah, I just cried my eyes out. I got back to the change room and just started crying. And my coach was like, all right. I said, no, I'm not all right. He wasn't all right either though, because it's my coach that I've had from day one. Yeah. And he's not all right either because he's in it like I'm in it. And then I remember going back to Manchester and I just didn't come out of my bedroom for about, I don't know, 2 months. Then I got back on the horse. Took me a while though. Got back on the horse and then got back on the grind, started winning again, beating people.
So then you started training. You started to win again.
Yeah.
What was the next step?
Then I ended up on a reality TV show. I ended up on The Ultimate Fighter. I ended up fighting for Team England. We went to Australia, fought Team Australia on ESPN. That was my big break. But initially I got told I wasn't in. So basically 14 people got picked. Only 12 went and 2 reserves. And then I got a phone call saying you're the second reserve. A second reserve's never got on before.
Yeah.
So just carry on with your fights thing. And you did really well to even get to this point because there was about 2,000 applicants for this show. And I got down to the last 14, do you know what I mean? So I was buzzing. And then, but I was only 5 pro fights in at this point. I've actually skipped forward here. This happened before that one, but let me go back to that in a minute. So I was only 5-0 at this point. So I'm like 5-0, but the other guys in there are 22-2, mad records. I shouldn't be anywhere near this show. But they like my character. They're like, oh yeah, he's all right, him. He's an exciting fighter. He can talk on camera. He's a likeable character.
Yeah.
He's like the lovable rogue from Manchester. He was only 19 at the time.
Yeah.
And then a week into the show's airing.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't doing anything. I took time off. I'd trained all the way up to the show. Then got told absolutely no. Went to a B4, took some time off.
You're like, I need a bit of me time.
Yeah, 8-9 days of just partying, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because I'd not been out for that long. It was one of my mates' bachelor party, stag do, I think it was. Bachelor party, mine about stag do. I've been in America too long. Yeah. Stag do. So then I land back in Manchester. And you know, is when you land back from a beef, you're not in the best headspace, are you?
You don't remember the flight.
Yeah, And then I got a call, just to let you know, somebody's been injured in Australia. You need to fly out tomorrow morning. We're booking your flight now. I said, can I call you back in 5 minutes? And then I remember just putting the phone down and just be like, what the fuck? Why did I do that? And then I ended up ringing my coach. He was buzzing. My mum was buzzing. Everyone was buzzing, but I wasn't buzzing. I was like, my head's in the bin here.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. But then I just was like, fuck it, what's the worst that can happen? It's a fight at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I went there.
Though, going onto a world stage and you're like probably feeling lowest low. You borrowed all your happiness from the next few weeks.
I was gone.
Yeah.
I was gone. I'd put on weight. I was chubby in the neck and all that. Because 10 days is a long time when you're just eating shit and partying. It is, isn't it?
It is a real long time.
And then I just remember sitting on the flight to Australia, 24-hour flight, just hungover. Like sat there like that. He's going to embarrass yourself in front of millions of people there on ESPN. Like, why have you took this opportunity? I ended up landing in Australia, going on this show. It was in a mad mansion in Sydney, next door to Nicole Kidman, where stupid millions, tennis courts, all that.
The show was in the mansion?
Yeah.
What?
It's a reality show. No TVs, no phones, no magazines. You don't know what's going on in the outside world. 24 guys just fighting each other. So I ended up in there. And then as soon as I landed, they picked me against this guy, Patrick Idice, who was like 9-0 at the time. So he was undefeated. I was undefeated at the time. Beat him quite comfortably. Then I got to the semis and ended up fighting the guy who won it in the semi-final, Norman Park, who was about 25 fights into his career. I'd only had 5. And ended up going to a really close decision with him. And it was a fucking great fight. Yeah. And that put me on the map. Everyone was like, whoa, this kid just come in on no notice and nearly won the whole thing. At 19, do you know what I mean? And then I came back to England and everyone knew me. Yeah. Because everyone watched the show.
Everyone watches TV.
Massive show. Then that was the start of like people starting to know who I am. Then I had the world title fight after that. So pardon me, I went in the wrong order.
It's all right.
So I'd already had a bit of a name from that, obviously, from the show, and then got that world title fight. But nobody gave me a chance with this guy because he was that good apparently. But then I won the fight, but got it. So that was a knockback. And then I was kind of like, well, I've been on this UFC show, I didn't win it. I've been for a world title, I didn't win it. I'm like, what the fuck now then?
Did that be like, I'm getting used to being able to get knocked down and come back up? Or was every knock like another few rungs down the ladder, if that makes sense?
Well, I'd say like, yeah, it was. It was starting again every time. Every loss is a start again. Yeah. It's a complete fresh start.
And was it getting harder to deal with?
No, it was getting harder, mate. And it was getting really hard where I was like, I'm getting older. There's only so long this window's open.
And how old are you now at that point?
After the second loss, must have been 25.
25. Kind of a quarter way through life at that point.
That was my second big loss that I didn't lose. Imagine that. I didn't lose it though. And my whole world was waiting after that for the UFC and the Stardom and the McGregor thing and all that would have been going on. But imagine like you actually did it, but someone's just decided behind the scenes, nah, we're going to give it the other guy. That was hard. Because then I'm like, well, I actually have done it, but I haven't at the same time.
Yeah.
So what now? Back on the horse, winning fights.
Yeah.
Then I get to my third and final knockdown. I went on a reality TV show again called The Contender, where basically you are... Well, right, let me just rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
Since the Duquesnoy fight, the French kid, I think I won something insane like 9 in a row after that. And everyone was just like, why is this kid not in the UFC and an absolute suit? People could not believe it. And Dana had started this show called The Contender, where basically you go on, you fight in front of an audience of him and his peers and like the guys who own the UFC, and they just go yes or no from the fight. And that's on ESPN. That become really big, that show, because now MMA's getting big. This was only 2019. So now MMA is big and everyone's watching this show. But everybody on this show was 5-0, 6-0. At this point, I'm 19-2. Like, I shouldn't be anywhere near this show. I should just be in the UFC. But for some reason, I wasn't. Still to this day, there's a few conspiracy theories, but we'll go into that.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, got called for this show. I'm like, well, I'll take it, but we shouldn't be on this show. But then they give me the best guy they could find in America. He was a champion in 2 weight divisions in New York, and he was like the main guy in America.
Yeah.
And like, he shouldn't have been on it either. So it's like he ended up in the same situation as me. So now I go out and I fight this guy in Vegas, wipe the floor with him, win every round, win the fight of the judges. Brendan won.
Yep.
Everyone's like, wow, who is this Brendan? He's just come and battered this guy. He's good.
What's funny is all these times everyone keeps going, who is this Brendan?
Yeah.
We've
Who
been there
is
the
this
whole time.
Brendan? No, this was a real, this was my biggest moment in my whole career. That night, well, that was the biggest. The whole MMA world knows who I am now. All the big fighters as sending me messages. All the big champions, all the MMA media, Ariel Owani. I am known now. I am known. Like, I'm like the biggest story in MMA that day by far that week. So anyway, I win the fight. I come out of the fight, and they like the producers like, yeah, you're in. All you have to do is just go and sit on set here. And the guy's going to tell you you're in and you're off.
That
Sweet.
feeling must be like,
yeah, I've done it.
6 years
Buzzing.
I've been trying to do this.
Done it. Buzzing and
Yeah.
pissing blood again. So, yeah, I sit in front of this set like this. Loads of lights, loads of people. And then Dana comes on the screen. Yeah, the Brendan's good on that. But I'll tell you what you don't do. Don't ever come to my show and fight like that ever again. You're not in the UFC, bye.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
And then that moment there was the most indescribable feeling that I could ever like. Imagine he just pops up on a screen in front of you and says that, and then the whole back staff just go like that. Ooh.
Like,
nobody can understand what's going on. My whole soul's left me at this point.
Yeah. And it's being caught on camera.
Millions of people are watching the show live. This is live, and I'm sat here waiting to be told I'm in, and then get told that. And I'm like, then it all just goes really silent. And I'm sat here, my body's gone ice cold. I'm like, what? Nobody can understand what's going on. Now I just look, I say, can I leave then? And they're like, yeah, you can leave. So I get up and I start walking out the venue. And I'm like, now it's like, now I'm 20-2. I'm 30 years old. I've been told no again. This is my third one.
And you put your body through absolutely
Now I'm done.
everything.
I'm in my head. I'm like, well, I can't get in the UFC. That's the only place you go.
Yeah.
That's the only place you can make money. This is the end of my career, and I won the fight again. And I'm like,
how?
how
do you get better? Like, what was like in your head? Like, what else can I do?
yeah, I was done. That was me. Like, well, I can't do anything now. Like, I must just be that guy
Yeah.
that just keeps getting doors slammed, and like you hear about it in football, guys like who are just that good, but they just never got the chances that others got.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to pause this podcast, but I wanted to take a moment to tell you about Fiocity's most hard-hitting energy drink, Champion. If you have a winning mindset, that tropical flavour helps you stay focused and alert in fighting your
everyday challenges. It's available now at ferocity.co.uk. Back to the show. You've done it. You've beat them. Why? Why am I not there?
Yeah.
You followed the ropes. You followed the rules.
I did what I should have done. I fought who I should have fought. I never missed weight. I never pulled out of a fight. I just did everything right. I trained harder than anyone. And I ticked all the boxes and I just couldn't work out why the door kept slamming.
Yeah.
Now we're on our third knockback. I'm 30 years old, like I say, I'm 20-2. Got an unbelievable record. I'm number one in Europe and I've been for a long time. Nobody can work it out. And then it's just like, right, well, what now? Do you know what I mean? And I'm very lucky that the PFL came along. They were just starting out. They were only on their second season. And basically you fight in a tournament for $1 million. They came along and approached me. Well, every Bellator, ONE FC, all the major promotions was going, like, offering me stupid money. Everyone wanted me at that point. And PFL literally gave me whatever I wanted. They said, we'll give you this to sign on. You can fight Madison Square Garden in 1 month. We've got this big show and you can fight on that. Then we've got a big show at Mandalay Bay in Vegas in December. You can fight on that. Bearing in mind, this is like July now. So I was like, I'm going to have 2 fights for the end of the year. You're going to give me this mad signing bonus. They were promising me 4 fights the next year. And they was promising me stupid stuff. But I didn't really know about this promotion. I thought, these are brand new.
Yeah.
What's going on here? So I rolled the dice.
You rolled the dice
Let's
again.
go. They did give me the 2 fights. I had them both, won them both.
Yeah.
Give me the signing bonus. Everything cleared. I'm like, found a new home.
Yeah.
Then, right, I'm ready to go into this $1 million tournament now. COVID comes along. I'm like, right. They phoned me up about 2 months before my first tournament fight for the $1 million. Yeah, just so you know, we're shutting down for COVID. We're not going to be back for a year and a half. So do what you do. And I said, well, what am I going to do for a year and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're off. Done. Phone down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I going to do for a year and a half then?
Yeah.
No, for sure. To be fair, the whole world was in the same boat. This
Yeah.
wasn't just them taking the piss.
No, they physically couldn't do that.
No one could do anything. So just trained every day and was like, right, when this tournament does come around, I'll be ready.
Yeah.
It came around a year and a half later, like promised. Come out, fought a guy called Shaman Moraes, who was very big in the UFC, knocked him out first round. Everyone's like, wow.
Here we
Second
go.
fight, another UFC guy, beat him comfortably. Third guy ended up fighting Khabib's best mate, a guy called Movlid Habalayev, who was 20-0, never been beat. Ended up having a war with him, both covered in blood. He ended up beating me on a split decision. So that's me out of the tournament, done. But it was a 3-tournament contract, so I could go again next year. Then I got offered a boxing match in Manchester, ended up boxing at the MEN Arena. Then I ended up taking a bit of time off for the next season. Then the season came around. First fight, won comfortably, Japanese guy, Ryoji. Second guy, I fought this Bosnian guy, beat him comfortably. Third fight was their PFL debut in England. Fought the main guy, Chris Wade, who was the favourite to win it. It was a 3-1 underdog. Even I was scared in this fight. 6,000 people in London, do you know what I mean? It was big pressure. Ended up wiping the floor with Chris Wade. And then I went on to the final, where Madison Square Garden, fighting an American guy in his back garden. I ended up fighting Bubba Jenkins for the world title and $1 million. And then ended up knocking him out and getting $1 million in the world title on essentially my 4th attempt.
But what I hear is what's the best thing about this, and there's like, this whole podcast is called Power of the Ordinary.
Yeah.
Like, the power comes in your most ordinary moments of when you got knocked down. You know, it's like that moment where you're at home and you feel beat, that home where you're live on TV and you're just a normal human being, you've got a dream, and they've taken it away from you. So many people in that moment would feel, I'm beat, but you've not accepted it. And I feel like that's incredible.
It kind of comes out in my fights as well. I've been in really hard fights where, again, I'm pissing blood, broken noses, broken. I even had one in Germany where my arm was broke and I carried on and ended up winning the fight with a broken arm. I ended up knocking the guy out with one arm hanging off.
Did see that. And that's mental. You went back to your corner, right? And you were just like...
My arm's broke.
The guy
I've
was
literally got a plate in there, snapped in half. I know.
You ended it with a kick or something, right?
Yeah, I kicked him, because he started to realise that the arm was broke and then started like headbutting my jab because he knew I couldn't throw the right hand.
Yeah.
And then he started getting complacent, thinking he's broke his arm, I've won. And then
Yeah.
I just head kicked him.
So you tell me right now, what is next for Brendan?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I mean, I really really strong position in my life. I'm really happy. I'm like, I don't know. I'm in a position where I've had 2 fights since the world title. I defended it the first one. I lost my second one. So I've recently just lost the belt. It made me realise a lot of things, and I was burning the candle at both ends, and it's really hard for me to explain about how I train for these fights and what I put in, because most humans wouldn't even be able to conceive what goes into a fight camp. Just to touch on it, you know, I moved to Thailand. I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment on my own. I'm in and out the gym 3 times a day. I'm getting meals delivered to my door that is barely anything. I'm barely eating. I'm barely sleeping. I'm training all day. I don't see any of my friends and family. I've got this money and this belt, but I'm away in Thailand on my own. I was back in the gym 4 weeks after this world title. Most people take a world title and they have 6 months off, and they parade the world with it, and they make this big song and dance. I'm in the gym ready for the next fight. So I didn't slow down. And I believe that's why I did lose, because I didn't take a minute to myself. I just kept going and going. And I was unbelievably active. I mean, I had 4 fights in 7 months every year for 4 years. And as a fighter, you're lucky if you have 3 a year. I was having 4 in 7 months. Now it's put me in a reset. Like, okay, well, there's nothing on the table fight-wise at the minute, which is the first time in years that there's not an opponent in front of me. So now it's like, okay, well, let's try and do something normal. Like, let's try and interior design my house, make it comfortable. Let's reconnect with old friends. You know what I said to myself? When I got the time off and it did happen, I thought, right, well, there's no fight here. I've got friends like Scott and Chris, and there's loads of friends around me that have been to every fight. New York, America, Vegas, you name it, they've been there. I've missed their birthdays, weddings, christenings, funerals. I've missed everything. So I said to myself, for the next 6 to 8 weeks, I am going to go to anybody's birthday, christening, wedding, and I went to them all. We went in a wedding in Portugal the other day. It was my mate's 50th, the same day as the wedding. I got an Uber from Portugal to Marbella, 4.5 hours, so I didn't miss either of them. And like, then I flew to Colombia to see one of my very good friends that I've not seen for years. Just connecting with all these people that I've put all this time and effort into supporting Brendan.
I'm sorry to pause the listening, but there's a product I need to tell you about, and it's our sugar-free caffeinated energy gum. It allows you to hit your day harder and give you a lift in moments where you need it most. Now, back to the show.
That is a real moment, isn't it? When you have such a big dream. Like, that's what it was. You had a massive dream. I want to be UFC. I want to be the top of the game. I want to be one of the best fighters there is. A dream like that doesn't come without massive sacrifice. And like you said, you sacrifice a lot. You're in Thailand. You're in a bedroom. You're getting eaten. You're alone. There's no family. There's got to be moments where either you're just so obsessed about getting this dream and competitiveness where you block everything else out. But also at the same time, do you ever regret, or do those feelings of I'm missing out on really important life moments start sinking in?
Well, once I won the belt, my mum, my girlfriend at the time, and my coach begged me not to go back. Like, what are you doing going back? You've got a world title, you got the money, you've got everything you wanted out of the sport. What are you going back to Thailand on your own for? No, I've got to do it. Didn't listen to no one. And did it, and like, won the first one, knocked the guy out, second round it was. Then the second one, I got caught, but none of them, they all said, well, we knew this was going to happen. You was moving 100 miles an hour. You didn't stop for 1 second. You went back to that 1-bedroom with fucking on your own, and we all wanted to be around you and support you after you win and you belt and everything you'd achieved. But I wasn't stopped. That's what I'm looking at you now, saying I'm not willing to just sit about, mate, and like be that guy that won a belt and fell off and no one heard of him again. I feel like people think that you've done it now and just chill, but I don't want to chill.
I get it.
My legs going now. I'm on the go constantly, and my brain's thinking about stuff as I'm speaking to you about other things.
Like
so,
what?
No, just like what I'm going to do and where I'm going to go. And I have a mad thing about, I have a travel bug for a start. I'm constantly on the move, constantly traveling the world and doing other things. And I think for a fighter, someone that's done this since 15, imagine trying to be a normal member of society now. And like, all right, now I don't have to train today. And you know what I'm resonating with? And I will got Fury. I'm watching the documentary now on Netflix. Do you know how much I have in common with that man?
Go on.
Like, honest to God, I'm watching it, right? He doesn't know what he's doing. He's from day to day.
Yeah.
He's fiddled with retirement in this thing. Yeah, I'm just going to stay at home and have some kids time. We don't know. We just know that we need to keep going. And I just resonate with him and how his mindset is as a world champion myself. We don't want to sit still. We don't want to just sit on this world title. We want to keep moving forward.
You want to keep moving forward. I get it. It's that moment. It's like, I'd rather get hit by heavyweight champions again and again than move some.
Sit here and be a normal. And look, just sit here, put the fireplace on and watch telly. It's not us.
Yeah. You're very content, I think, with the journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing, is like, because you're content with the journey, not the goal. And I think that brings
True.
success, and that brings happiness within what it is you're doing. But at some point, when you have to stop, how do you reckon you're going to be able to cope with that? Because at some point you've got to, right?
Of course, yeah. And that's what I'm dealing with in my head now, that it is coming to the end and it is a short shelf life fighting. Now I have to feel, I don't have kids. That's the difference. I actually don't have kids. So that is another goal of mine, obviously, as a man. And I'm an only child, so that's another difference. So for me, now it's about trying to have a family unit after fighting. Do you know what I mean? And trying to have a bit of normality to where I can just get up and not have this mad urge to have to go gym or the day doesn't exist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, do.
Like being like, no, you don't have to go today, you know. No, but I do in my head. Trying to, all right, I go to Starbucks, I can't have a sugar, but now I put the odd sugar in because I'm chilling at the minute.
Okay.
Do you know how different, do you know how small that is? But how big it is in my head. I don't know. That's where I'm at. I'm trying to get it across on the podcast where I'm at. But
no, it's good, mate. What you've done there is really good. And considering that you are at the moment, you can have treats. We've got the champion can that's right next to you.
A bit here, lad.
Go on. You've got one right there. You've got one right there. Have you had the taste of this yet?
I have. I went to the thing, didn't I?
Yeah, oh yeah, you did.
The opening thing.
Yeah, well, I was going to say do a little taste test, but what do you think it tastes like?
I've already had it, mate.
Yeah,
Go on the video when I first had this. It's hilarious.
Yeah, because for me, I bloody love Lilt. And obviously, Lilt's discontinued. Yeah. It just reminds me of Lilt consistently.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
It is. And I'm not just saying it because I'm on camera. It's a really nice drink.
Right at the beginning, you said this conspiracy theories. You said we'll get into that. Do you want to jump into that?
No, what it is basically is people are just really mind blown by why Dana White why was you never the chosen one? What was going on? People have all types of things going through, which I don't really want to go into because they're just like, I don't want to start mad rumours.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, because some of it's like mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, mate. But as far as my knowledge is aware, I've only ever met Dana White twice in my life. The first time I was on his show, and the second time I went to corner Darren Till, which was a nice feeling because I come back as a champion, and I come back as that guy that got turned away on the show, and said nah, and then I come back with $1 million and a world title in my hand. Now that felt good.
It's almost like a big cue, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. I think that was my biggest motivation.
Yeah.
I think it was my biggest motivation was getting told you're not good enough. Nah, you can't come here. And I'm not joking now, right? There was nowhere to go after that. There was nowhere. I found somewhere. This PFL wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
And it grew with me. My profile and them, we grew together.
Yeah.
And this $1 million and world title come out of nowhere because it wasn't even a thing. And like, there was nowhere to go. Where was I going to go? Bellator, like it was. So it just kind of like the universe was with me and like, listen, lad, just promise it. They were like, they talked to me a few times, I reckon, and said, just keep training hard and something will happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but something will come out of nowhere, and it literally did.
Yeah.
And if that's a key that anybody wants to take from this podcast today is keep working hard, find something you absolutely love. And I'm not talking about love, I'm talking about obsessed. I'm talking about, how many people on planet Earth now go to bed on a Sunday night and they're absolutely sat there thinking, I cannot wait for tomorrow. I've got this session and then that session and I'm going to do this in there. And I'd go to bed with a smile on my face and wake up with a smile on my face.
You can see it. You so like the energy that's coming across from me. In this room.
Yeah.
A lot of these conversations have been like, we've gone quite deep. Like I was chatting to Kane the other day. that's a complete different story. But yourself, you're here and you're so gassed and you're
Yeah,
ready.
yeah.
And
I think it's that drink.
yeah, maybe it
Let us
is.
sip of that, mate. I want to start fucking doing a marathon.
The out of everything though, before we come to a close, is you've had, like you say, massive peaks and troughs. You've had massive ups and big ups on the world's biggest stage. I did see, like, when you went to Madison Square Garden or something, you've got given them like a note.
Yeah,
from,
well, I've actually fought there twice. I've been looking to fight there twice, and the first time I fought there was in 2019. And excuse me, I remember walking into the arena, and as I walked in, it's Madison Square Garden. I'm fighting in Madison Square Garden as a young lad from Manchester. So I go in, and then on the seat in the changing room, there's an envelope with Brendan written on it.
Yeah.
So I open it up, and it goes, to Brendan, your friends at Madison Square Garden, best of luck tonight. You made it.
Yeah.
And I still got it. I've got it on my wall at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's
It was.
cool,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. I've got plenty of stories for the grandkids anyway.
Yeah. What's been the highest high out of all of it? And then I know you kind of touched upon it, but I don't know if you want to go deeper, the lowest low.
Well, you can't get any higher than winning $1 million in Madison Square Garden. It doesn't get any higher or any bigger for anyone. Winning that fight, knocking the guy out, you know, being an underdog again, winning the world title, winning $1 million, and then looking out of the cage, seeing your mum, your dad, your auntie, your uncle, your little cousin, your whole family is just ringside at Madison Square Garden, and you've done it. You fucking done it. You actually did do it. You said you were going to do it, and you actually did it. I don't think that will be my highest high in life. I really don't.
And that's what excites me most.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sat here right now and I cannot wait to see what it
Me
goes
too.
in 5 years.
Me too.
Because I truly, truly believe it's going to be something else.
Me too. It's going to be something spectacular.
Yeah.
Because it's just the power of my belief, and my energy is different, because I'm not just one of these that say it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm not willing to just say it.
Yeah.
If I say, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but whatever it is, and it's gonna say, like, the road looks bumpy to get there. Sweet. Bring on the bumps. Do you know what I mean?
You can come back from Ibiza after 11 days and get on a flight to Australia.
And fight, yeah.
And fight. Like,
It's nuts, innit?
you are 100% right. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on and being so, like,
no problem.
open and honest. But before we do run away, do you like protein bars?
I fucking love them. I've just had one on the way, but I'll have
Have
another
you?
one.
Oh, you have another one? Right. Did you taste these at the event?
Eh?
Did you taste these at the event?
Yeah, mate. I was dipping in everything.
I was going to say, which one is going to be your favourite?
Let's have a look.
There you go.
Tell you what's good about these.
Yeah.
1.9 gram of sugar. Yeah? You know how important that is for an athlete, that sugar content.
No, how important is it?
Very, very important, mate. It's very important, but what flavours have we got?
Caramel and chocolate fudge brownie.
I'm a bit of a caramel guy.
A bit of a caramel guy.
Yeah, I reckon I am.
When you taste it, tell me which chocolate bar you feel like it tastes like.
My God. Soft as well. Can't put my finger on it. Wait. What chocolate bar is it? Tell me.
Honestly, everyone's had a different answer.
Twixy vibes.
Twixy.
Right.
Twixy vibes.
Yeah, Twix. I go Twixy vibes.
You go Twix.
I'll go
That's a
Twix.
new one. That's
Is
a
it?
new one.
Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Twixy vibes.
Twixy vibes.
Obviously different texture, but Twixy vibes.
Sweet. Well, on that case, as you pulled in the protein, did you see just around the corner we had a bit of a challenge?
Oh, fucking hell. You're going to put me under pressure like that?
Yeah, straight up. Pack a punch. We've had our guests here. Are you ready to play a game?
Let's do it.
Come on then. We've got all the other guests. Where do you think we're going to compare?
If I don't get top 3, mate, I will not be happy.
So we're aiming for the 900s.
Yeah. Oh, that one bad.
That felt good.
Come on, you little animal.
machine is wobbling.
Boo, 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 boo. Oh.
Give it a go if you want.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Whoever's had 10 goals, I am having 10 goals. Why am I stuck on 890?
I don't know. 8, 9,
This shit little right hand. This is hurt me $1 million as well. Come on, get up there, son. Yeah, stuck on the same one. It's a
You are
glitch.
just getting 8 9s. Wait. You're one off. You was one off.
I think there's a glitch on this machine. So I might give it a head kick, why not? This will be good for it, won't it? Yeah. Boom!
899. Brendan. Just before the 900s. Thank you for watching this podcast. And if you're enjoying these episodes, let us know by subscribing to whichever channel you're listening through. It makes a huge difference, which allows us to grow and bring you better content.